Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I have another diagnostic video here, which I think is going to be very interesting. This is a 2008 GMC Savana 3500. I think it's a 4.8 engine. Let me just double check that. Yeah, it's a 4.8. The customer complaint is a check engine light on, some hissing noise under the hood, which I haven't really see. I already connected the scanner and I found that it's cylinder 5 misfire. I did a relative compression test with the e-scan and it shows me mechanical issues. So we contacted the customer and he was okay with us going a little further doing an in-cylinder pressure transducer test or compression test on that cylinder to see what the problem might be, because I'm going to do the relative compression test with you guys. I'm going to, right now I connected the scanner. So for these, I'm using the e-scan. So let's retry this. Okay, so it did connect to the computer. We can see that we have one code and it looks like all monitors are completed. All right, so we go and take a look of the DTCs. We gotta select the location of that. And it shows a cylinder 5 misfire. These are the freeze frame data of when that happened. Let me see, the coolant temperature was cold. Field trims weren't bad at all. Intake manifold, RPM in between 1050 and 750 and so on. But so, I went over to also to mode 6 and then select EM and read mode 6 once. And put 1 second, guys, to get the leg of the scanner out. For this one, I'm actually using the SUS as a tablet. So let me go over to the misfire data. We can see the cylinder 5 is showing all the misfires. So we have what Mo 6 thinks is cylinder 5. And, I wanted to, make sure that it's cylinder 5. And I also want to make sure that, I don't go and waste my time or the customer, and we have a problem with the engine. So I'm doing a compression test for this. This SUS touch screen is very not good because, I mean, look at the size of this. It's like bigger than your finger, and these buttons are very small. But let's see if I can select 8 cylinders. As you can see, I'm trying. So 7, 8. Okay. So it's going to start the test. Hopefully the battery, yeah, charge the battery. So I'm going to uh, crank the car, cancel the test. So I'm going to just let the car run. Nothing is unplugged, so no problem. I'm gonna let the battery recover a little bit. So let's go to e-scan. I don't know where it's not reading. It's not getting the activation. Restart communication. Let's see. Okay, now it's reading. Okay, location B. Is engine and idle? Yes. So as we can see here, we got field trim control, which is okay. I don't really feel a heavy misfire, but it's a V8 engine, so sometimes it's very hard to really feel those misfires. So again, I want to go right now. The battery should have recovered a little bit. I mean, it wasn't 11.9, so it's not really that good. I will turn the car off. Let me go over here. Oh no, I got to select the cylinders again. All right, so okay, so let's select the cylinders again. Come on. It is painful to do anything with this touch screen. Should have put a mouse in here. Okay, we got 8. All right, hopefully it's going to let me do the test. So I'm going to do clear flow mode and then crank it. And I can feel, I know my save, I already saved that, so I don't need to do that. But so this is what I see. We have a dead hole or very low compression in one cylinder, 2R. One is also really close to become a problem as well. But so let's say, that's cylinder 5. I will have to put a sink and, do a compression test or a relative compression test. I know that we have a problem. So I'm going to get the spark plug out and get the sink on the same coil that I'm going to have to put, a spark tester on it and then, put a sink on that. But yeah, I'm going to get the in-cylinder pressure waveform to see what we can find. Is this a problem with timing? Is a problem with a valve? Or, we don't know yet. And we don't know even if it's cylinder 5, but we're assuming based on MOSEX that it is 5. So if I connect this in-cylinder pressure transducer and we don't see any problems in there, then we will go a different way. And we'll see. But let me connect the in-cylinder pressure transducer. For this, I already have the center console, which is, a little hard to do on these cars, but I think we got enough room in here for me to connect the in-cylinder pressure transducer. I got to work on the third cylinder, which is very hard to reach from the front, but it's a lot simpler or easier to do in here. And I can probably get, a primary. I think these are 2-wire coils. Let me get some light in here. No, actually, this is a 4-wire coil. So if that's the case, I need to see which one is the trigger for that, and then just ground the wire to the spark plug so we don't, damage the coil. But let me do this, and I'll be right back. All right, before I go into the pressure transducer test, I want to also show you well, I had the vehicle ID on on all data, and I went to look for the firing order. Yeah, very nice. Yeah, this is the firing order, but which one is which cylinder? So I went over to all data and Identifix, and now I can see that it's the passenger side third cylinder. So this is the way these ones are. Okay. All right. For the coils, I found that coil 5. Yeah, it is a 4-wire, has a redundant ground, which is a black wire, and has a pink wire. Yep, a pink wire, brown wire, and a dark green. So as we can see, the pink wire is sharing all the coils, so that cannot be our control signal, and so is the brown wire. So most definitely, the dark green is our wire, and this is cable 22. So going back to the other diagram, 22, it says there is ignition control for cylinder 5. If we want to know what the other wires are, so the brown wire 26, right here, it says it's a low reference, so it's a ground as well. And then the other pin, which is 16, if we follow 16, that goes to a fuse. So that's the power for the coil. All right, so we will need to get connected to that dark green on the coil to get the trigger waveform that we need to do a sync. So we can check, the compression on the car if we want to do a relative compression and if we want to do also a compression test. I think that the first thing that I need to do is do a relative compression to make sure that that is a cylinder that is not contributing. And then we can do the in-cylinder pressure waveform to find out if that is, what the problem is. Is this a roller, a cam roller, is a camshaft, is a valve, etc. All right, guys, hopefully I'm okay on the video. I'll be doing a screen recording, so not a problem on that. I have already channel 1 set up for the coil signal, the trigger signal, and I have channel 2 on the battery positive and negative. For this, I rig a 20-foot extension from Power Probe to get the scanner, I mean, sorry, the oscilloscope wires connected inside, because otherwise I will have to run everything on top of the engine, and I'm not sure if that would have reached or not. Let's see if it is work, see if it's not too noisy, and then we can go from there. It's not really necessary. So let's try it one more time. All right, here we go with a clear floor mode. Trying to turn the lights off. All right, let's see what we see. Always save the file first, even if it doesn't work. So I'm just going to rename it the same. So Savana 05. Oh wait, yes. So my data is overriding the other one that we don't need. Okay, let's go over the data. Okay, perfect. Now we are seeing what we need. Let's filter this a little different. You want to filter it a little bit, but not too much, so otherwise you will lose your data. Remember that this is backwards, so the actual highest points are not what we're looking for. And I'm not zooming in, so I really would like to know how to invert this. Standard current. All right, guys. Yeah, let's not do this on the video because otherwise it's going to be very long. But let's select this. So again, yeah, we can see the cylinder 5 is actually low. Let me put a ruler and let's bring this down. So again, this peaks. Hopefully you guys are seeing me good. All right, there. So we're looking for the bottom ones. That is what we're looking for because it's the draw, right? So whatever draws more is going to be like that. I can even put an amp clamp, which is probably the best way to do it, so it's not as confused as this. But we can see the cylinder fire is definitely not contributing. Even if we don't, if we go down, um, let me see if I can filter this a little more. Take some of the hatch away. Yes, that's probably good. All right, so we can see, let's say, let's disregard those little picks in here, but we can see this one is low as well. We can have this one is good. So let's see. All right, guys, I can setting out the amp clamp. Disregard what you see in the screen. This is I was using a small clamp that didn't work. So let's use the big clamp, 600 amps clamp. That should work. And let's run this again. That should be good enough. Let's save it. Just saving the file. And always do that because otherwise something happen, you lose everything. So again, you will be seeing the screen recording. Let me put the camera so you can watch the mouse and I can sync the video a lot better like that too. Taking a little longer to do it. What time is it? It's gotta be almost lunchtime. Oh yeah, I'm getting hungry. Today's Saturday. I think it's July 11. All right, so let's go back. All right, so oop, yeah, definitely the computer's running slow with the scanner. I mean the oscilloscope connected, and we can apply a filter to that as well. And that should be. I mean, we can go a little more. All right, so that should do it. So now, as you can see, and that's what I was referring. That's what I left the battery wire connected so we can see the difference in this. When you're using your regular just 12-volt wire, you put them in the AC setting, as you can see there. 2 volts is two plus minus 2 volts. That's plenty. It will be inverted. So make sure that you understand that. But now I put the amp clamp, so it's easy on the eye. We're still using the same cylinder 5 as our sink, and I'm going to put a cursor in here, or yeah, let's zoom into one event. But so definitely, no doubt about it, cylinder 5 is a problem. I mean, I can see a little lower than the other ones, but remember this is a relative compression, so it's not accurate. So don't go and say, you got many bad cylinders. So that's why I put the amp clamp is a little more clean to see the picks. But we can see the cylinder 5 is definitely, there's no effort on the starter to go there. It's an eight cylinder, so it's very hard to even feel. But that is definitely a mechanical problem, no doubt about it. So yeah, what I'm going to do is now go in cylinder pressure waveform to find out what we have. All right, so I'll be right back, guys. All right, guys, I think I had everything ready for the in-cylinder pressure transducer. So I already select channel 1. I did apply a filter, 80 kilohertz, plus minus 10 volts. Let's get the probe for the pressure transducer. We're using the WPS 500 on range 1. And make sure it's on. I'm going to put it into, I'll say plus minus 22 to 200 psi. I think that will be good enough. All right, so again, I'm going to do a clear flow mode. Let me take the camera and show you. It was very hard to get these spark plug set up. It's so close to the cylinder wall in here, uh, the frame, or body of the car. I don't need to put anything on the transducer itself because it's held by the hose in there. So what I did is I put the fit in first with a 14 millimeter spark plug socket, and then I carefully put the hose in the fit and tie them up, and it's ready to go. So I'm just going to accelerate it, do a clear flow mode, and see what we see. All right, so let me put you here. Trying to show you as much as I can of the overall process. We can get, a little more capture. 5 milliseconds, that's too much. So 500 milliseconds per division. I'm glad I see that. And now the filter, see when it's more of a time, you get a lot of more hash on the signal. So we can change that filter a little more. probably down. It's so slow, the computer. And that's probably because I'm recording or doing a screen recording as well. Yeah, I think kilohertz, that should probably, yeah, that's good enough. All right, so let's just stop it one more time. So we start from 0. I will wait for that first screen to go. Well, hopefully I can get my feet in there without kicking the WPS 500 too much. I need to see the screen, so I'm going not to do it yet. Let's put the ignition on now, cranking. I'm gonna go another screen. That should be do it. Let's stop this and let's save the file. Trying to go fast as possible. All right, so this is on OA Savana. Channel 1 is coil file trigger, and then channel 2, red channel, is WPS 500, range 1, cylinder 5 as well. All right, see what we see. Might have to put, a vacuum transducer on one of the pores and on the intake manifold or exhaust. We'll see. We'll see what we see here first. Should probably put even in 1 second. Oh, I'm in assume. Oh, that's perfect. Okay. I'm like, that's not too many. This is perfect. Okay. So we don't really care too much about the uh, ignition timing or look of that form. It's just the sync, so we know it's firing. Even though I remove the coil connector, so I don't want to have a spark plug jumping in there close to my transducer. I don't like that at all. But yeah, that's so we know it is firing even in clear flow mode, so it kills the injectors. We can put some rulers. Let's well, let's see the height of these first. Uh, I lower the screen. That's not what I wanted to do. Now I can grab that. Let's put another one in the 0. I'm just going to put it anywhere, and I'm going to 0 it here. So we know that is a perfect 0. What else? We got 119, 120 pounds crank compression. I know that already by fact that is low. I think, let me see if we can go over to old data and see if we can find some compression. Let's see, compression check. The specifications. Sometimes the manufacturer doesn't give you the minimum compression in any one cylinder should not be less than 70% of the high cylinder. Thank you so much. No cylinder should read less than 100 psi. Yeah, well, that's what I'm seeing. So this is just by knowing. I think that this could be around 165, 170. I can look in the web, but at least picks even, looks even. I don't like this right away. Um, it's a cranking compression, so while we have that in there, that's what we need to follow or find. So let's pick up one event. Let's move this window over here. And now we're going to put the cursors. And that will be tap dead center to tap, sorry, to tap dead center. And now we can set some rulers on this case. We're going to put 4. All right, so that will give me um, cam timing and orders. I would like to enhance a little bit this. So let's just scale it a little bit so we can see more detail at the bottom, even though this is just cranking. So what I did is I enhanced that a little bit. Um, like that we can see more of like the intake part. We can read also, let's take the cursors off, and now I can grab it on again. Let's put the 0 first, and let's grab another one to measure the deepest. So we got, 7.7 psi of vacuum on that cylinder on a cranking compression. With the accelerator pedal completely open, there should be no vacuum. This is most likely a valve that is not sealing correctly. So when it's losing compression and when it comes down, it's a lot easier for a cylinder to, to lose 100 pounds of pressure than 200 pounds of pressure. So when it comes down, it has more room to come back and create that vacuum that we're seeing here. So we definitely have a valve leak, and that's what I think it is in here. Let's put the rulers back again since we move them. I got to take the zoom out so I can see the top dead center. We can also take the channel A off. We don't need it for this. That was just a sync. All right, so we can do a zoom in here, and that we can get our 720 better around there. So let's take the zoom off again, and now we're gonna put the 0. And just if you want to be sure that you're correct in there, just, it's close enough, but I'm perfectionist, so I like to do it like that. All right, so we can then now go down to where we want to see the information, which is in here. Let me take that some one more time off. I want to see how the actual towers look as far as asymmetrical. And we can put, let's say, I have after this 0 line, I got 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to do there, and let's put another one in the 0. And that will be 52.75 degrees. If we measure the other way, it's not asymmetrical. So we got 43.23 degrees again on the fourth. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm crossing the same. So we got difference in degrees. It's almost 10 degrees difference. So that's a huge difference. That means it's definitely the cylinder is losing pressure. And that's how you do it too. As far as the valve opening, we would like to have, 30 to 60. That's the rule of thumbs. And we got, 50. So the timing doesn't look too bad. We can definitely see, and that's why I enhance where the valve open, just to make sure that I'm reading correctly. Yeah. So kind of like around there. It's 52. So that is, as far as valve time, is correct. It's a little hard to say on cranking compression. I want to go over to the waveforms and make sure that I put cranking compression because I don't think I did. Yeah, the computer is definitely very slow. Yeah, let's do that later because it's just taking too long. Hmm. So I don't. Again, I'm not trying to overanalyze, but I mean that's what we're doing. That looks like too deep of a packet for an engine that is just cranking. So one is normal. Okay, so let me do a running compression. We're gonna leave the settings the way they are. I think everything should be fine. So let's do one more running. I'm just going to start a car, and I can hear, yeah, that's a belt squealing. So that's probably the hissing noise that he's been hearing. I'll make sure that got no AC, everything is off. So that's probably his complaint. Let's turn this off for a second so we can focus on channel B. Running compression 60. Actually, it says 88. Yeah, 80. No, you see, it's very slow update. I don't know if I should have stopped the screen recording for this or what. All right, got another card to work on, but I want to do a snap throttle here. Let me change the timing too. Get 1 second per division, so we get more on the screen. All right, I'm gonna wait for the next screen. Let us stabilize. That's a perfect capture right there. All right, so let's save this one. All right, Savana. But we're gonna put that now as running compression. And we can save that. I can turn the car off now. All right, it's saved. Let's go back and see here. Gonna do the same thing. Mark our 720. Our valve opening around there to 180. We have 47. That is good. Let's see. Let's see a zero first. And now let's see what we got as far as vacuum. And we got minus 10.8, so that is not a bad um it's not a bad vacuum. I don't like this. You see this in here? Leak cylinders are a lot easier to find cranking than running. Remember that, um, the more speed you put in the cylinder, the less time the valve has to leak. But definitely, 70, 65, I think is right now. Yeah, 65 pounds. It's not so bad. Let's put this back into the zero. We want to measure too, the deepest vacuum should be around the same 30 to 60. That's the rule of thumbs. And that is 30. So that's 30.35. It looks even as far as the way the vacuum is. Sometimes, when you have a bed roller or, a spring or something, this will make the valve close and change the way this looks. And it's not the case either here. We want to measure the time of the valve to see if there's any issues on the cam lobes. Oh, what I did. See, that's a problem when somebody distracts you. Now I'm going to have to come back here. Let's go back to here. All right, so this is where I can see the change. Where's my other, that's right. It's on the 540 already. So yeah, 30 to 60. So the valve closing on the intake is fine. I don't see any problems as far as valve timing. Definitely we got a dead hole. So the other thing that I would like to do, and this is part of what, sometimes deciphering what the problem is do we have an intake or exhaust leak, valve leaking? So I need to put a pressure transducer on the intake or in the exhaust to start and find out. And otherwise, if I don't see any in there, then we're gonna have to go into the dipstick to see what the crankcase pressures are. So again, guys, I'll be right back. All right, guys, I'm ready to do in-cylinder pressure test and also a vacuum transducer on the. For this, I removed the PCV or the purge valve port, which is the central vacuum port on the engine. It's a little hard to see, but it's hopefully you guys can see it. I'm going to put the flashlight right now, and I'm going to move the flashlight. That's what the port is, and I put some rags in here to make sure my. Oops, sorry about that. Drop the camera for a second. Just wanted to move the rags a little bit more for the WPS 500 on the vacuum, and for that I'm putting the WPS 500 on range 3. The one inside is in range 1, which is going to be for cranking compression and running compression. All right, so I'm going to put you in the tripod. Let's get the picoscope ready for what we need to do. I still got the sync again on cylinder 5. So we're going to activate a filter. I'll leave it a little less than that. 10 volts. This one is going to be the WPS 500 in range 1, minus 22 to 200. And then make sure it's in channel 3. 1 second. Yes. And the other one is another WPS 500 in range 3. And this I'm going to probably put plus minus 5 psi. Actually, let's go plus minus 2 psi. This one up. And this one a little low. Change the time to 1 second per division. A little more sampling rate too. Waiting for that screen to start again. All right, let's see what we see. And this will be cranking. See if we capture anything on that WPS 500. Oh, let's enhance too much. Okay, it looks a lot better. Let's take this channel A off. So we just focus onto the pressures. See, the other way it captures too much stuff. This will be just the difference in pressures. We can do a little bit of enhancement to make it more obvious. Huh. I can definitely see something, but not what I was expecting it to be. I thought it was like a exhaust valve. It looks like it's an intake valve. Remember, the intake valve cannot leak an intake because it's open. The only time that an intake valve can leak is in compression. The exhaust valve, on the other hand, can leak in compression and can leak in intake because it's supposed to be closed or those two times. Obviously, it's not going to leak um, in the exhaust because it's open, right? So that's what we're looking at in here. All right, so we're gonna pick up one event of cranking compression, and we can see right here. So let's do same thing. We can definitely see a change, and it's very repetitive, repetitious. Hopefully, Bernie Thompson likes to use that word a lot, and it's a little hard sometimes for me to. I'm more used to use repetitive than repetitious, but I guess it's considered correct, so I will be using it too. But yeah, if we go, so we got the A events in here. We don't see any leak on the intake. Remember, we're looking on pulses on the intake manifold. So yes, we're gonna have a pulse, and it should be a drop in pressure in here, and it's not. It's actually very flat. It didn't pull, and then it came back again. And if we go, across all the cylinders or every event, we can see that that change is is repetitious. I feel funny saying that, but yeah, it's very all the time. So we got an intake valve leaking, and that's why we have that big dip on here. So we should have no vacuum on here, especially on a cranking compression. That's why right here we don't have much. But the way the difference in here is because obviously the cylinder is not producing much pressure. We only have 111 psi. So it's when the piston reaches the compression, the top, that center, it takes less time for that pressure to disappear, and then now the zero, whatever, let's say and it start to reach, if this cylinder would be in, let's say 185 pounds, it will reach zero around the 0 point. So it will be no vacuum because it's a cranking compression, and it will be very, very flat, let's say, almost like in here. You will probably see something, but not as obvious as is happening in here. The reason why we see here on the expansion packet this in here is because the piston, when it came down, was able to reach the zero, let's say right here. And then it took all this time to produce that vacuum until the exhaust valve opened. I don't see any problems as far as cam timing or cam lobes, but it's definitely an intake valve not sealing. This is 100% because we have an intake problem right here, right at the tower, and that's the only time the valve can leak. When this piston is going up, it's throwing pressure into the intake manifold, and that's why we don't see the drop here like all these rest of the cylinders. So I think it's very, very conclusive. So I like this. I love doing diagnosis, especially when the customer is willing to find out, what the problem is. A lot of people is like, oh, let's just put a spark plug in a coil and see, and then when it starts to become crazy, they're like injectors, a spark plug, and coils and everything. And now it's like, okay, let's do a real diagnosis. This was a savvy decision from the customer because it saved them a lot of time and parts on a problem that will not be fixed until that cylinder head comes off and the valves are repaired. So again, we can see the hump, very repetitious, like Bernie Thompson, my friend Bernie Thompson says, and we can see it in here. So if I drop this one down, just to keep the time, and so we can know which one is exactly leaking when this piston is going into the power stroke. So that intake valve is leaking, no doubt about it. I hope this is entertaining diagnosis. Like I said, doing all this. I'm not sure if the repair will be done or not. Hopefully it is, and I can show you when I remove the cylinder head. Otherwise, this is the diagnosis part. Thank you so much, and don't forget to subscribe. You guys have a nice week, and see you next time. Bye bye.